How's it going, Monsignor?
It's going very well and very busy.
Oh, yes. I cannot believe it's almost Holy Week. This Lent has gone fast.
That was a conversation among a couple of the priests that I know, how fast Lent has gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It just, I love Lent, but, you know, it really did just go so fast. So last Friday we had our day of adoration and reconciliation.
It was a beautiful day of prayer, and I'm very grateful to the priests who assisted Father Arian and I and Father Mike on hearing confessions throughout the day. We went pretty steady, 2 priests, from 9:30 to about 3 o'clock. And 3, 4 was a little quiet, and then around 4:30 picked up again, and we were still hearing confessions after stations and benediction.
Wow, that's good.
That is, it was a very good way to spend a Friday in Lent.
Good. Yeah, actually, a couple of my confirmation students are getting ready to go this Tuesday. So,
okay.
Who's got it this Tuesday?
Father Arian has it this Tuesday.
Okay, good. Well, he'll see us there. Our confirmation students had their retreat last Saturday.
It was really a very positive day. I celebrated Mass for them at the 9 o'clock parish Mass, and then they had their day with our youth ministry, and some really powerful testimonies, ending with, again, benediction. This benediction, the music was a little more on the contemporary side, and it was really a very moving moment of prayer.
Good.
You know, especially when you take into account that most young people don't even know what adoration of the Blessed Sacrament is. You know, and so hopefully it was a good experience for them. Great,
I'm sure it was. And then the St. Joseph's Feast was last Sunday, and I've heard lots of good things about that.
It really was a beautiful afternoon, and we kind of topped out around 240 people, and that's not counting the volunteers and the welcoming ministry that coordinated the event, and it was really a fun afternoon.
Good. And we continue with our RCIA rituals. Last week we had our second scrutiny, and this Sunday we'll have our third and final scrutiny for the RCIA.
And at the 10 o'clock Mass, you will not hear the readings for Cycle C, you will hear the readings for Cycle A, and the Gospel is the raising of Lazarus, and that's a very powerful reading.
Yeah, and everybody else will hear the woman caught in adultery, which is also a very powerful reading. And one of the, I love working with the RCIA, but one of the drawbacks is you never get to hear the other cycle readings during those 3 weeks. So we don't hear the prodigal son, we don't hear the woman caught in adultery, and those are 2 great stories.
They're wonderful Lenten readings that just remind us of God's mercy and God's unconditional love.
Yes.
And the purpose of Lent is to turn our hearts back to God. And no matter where we find ourselves, we could all benefit when we turn our hearts and our minds back to God.
And in those 2 stories in particular, there's no condemnation of the sinner. It's just start over. And I love that. And the way that Jesus addresses the woman particularly, he calls her woman, which is the same title he gives to his mother. God wants to restore our dignity 100%, not just, you know, all right, well, you can come back, but it's no condemnation, just come on back, and there's an embrace waiting, and I love it.
It also reminds us that we have to be willing to accept that acceptance, that forgiveness.
That's hard.
And too often people are either burdened with the fear of, I can't believe I've done this, or the other side is, well, I'll just say I'm sorry and move on. True repentance begins with a true sense of, you know, this is my fault. I don't blame anybody. That's why I was very happy in the new translation of the Roman Missal when they reinstituted through my fault, through my fault, through my fault. Because especially at this point in the history of our culture, where we blame everybody else but ourselves, it is the church that is reminding us, no, it's my fault. It's my fault. Not only for what I've done, but what I have failed to do.
That's right. You can't make a change if we don't acknowledge our own responsibility.
That's it.
So we have a lot of interesting ministerial things going on. The young adults in faith who had been meeting here once a month are changing the way they're going to be doing stuff.
Yes, they are in the process of, they have a few more. I think they're next week they'll be at St. Al's, and then really Easter week, that Thursday, they'll begin meeting here on a permanent basis. And this is a ministry of young adults from around various parishes, so it's not a parish ministry per se, but they will be using the Co-Cathedral as their base. It is for young adults, which is basically 18 to
38 or 39.
39, I believe. And it will consist of prayer. Each meeting will consist of prayer and also before the Blessed Sacrament, and also Bible study with planning of holy hours, service projects, and also the ability of just gathering to share faith.
Great.
And that will be on Thursdays here at the Co-Cathedral, beginning at 6:30 and ending around 8:30.
Cool. And all young adults are welcome.
All young adults are welcome.
Excellent. Okay. There's a new Archbishop in D.C.
Yes, our Holy Father has appointed the Archbishop of Atlanta, Archbishop Wilton Gregory, as the successor to Cardinal Wuerl, and he will be the ordinary of the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C. And he comes to Washington after a very strong Episcopal ministry in our country.
All right, and then this weekend we have coffee and after all of the masses, so stop on by for a coffee and a donut and some fellowship.
Well, in the morning.
In the morning, yeah.
We don't have coffee.
The 8:30, 10, and the 11:30.
Yeah, we don't have coffee and after the 4:30 or after the 5 o'clock.
No, that's dinner time. Don't eat donuts for dinner, people. Come on.
I hear you eat donuts for dinner.
Way to bring it up, Monsignor.
Oh.
I also eat candy for breakfast, so what?
I know. We're trying to get her into a nutritionist. It's like pulling teeth.
Well, that'll happen if I keep eating candy for breakfast.
Yes.
Also at Masses, the Knights of Columbus are selling the palm crosses as they do every year, so stop on by and support the Knights and get some palm crosses for your...
Palm crosses are a tradition for the graves, but I often wonder, maybe they could also be something that could be planted in front of homes as a sign of Palm Sunday and the triumph of the cross that we'll celebrate in 2 weeks.
Sure. You don't have to stick it on a grave.
No.
Make it a centerpiece.
A centerpiece on the table?
Well, I was just kidding, but ours is going to be Godzilla eating peeps. Actually, we have a whole bunch of monsters, because Ben collects them, so we're going to make a nice display.
That'd be bad for their teeth.
For monsters?
Monsters' teeth.
No, they eat people and trains and all kinds of things. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just asking.
Yeah, it's fine. Then next week we're going to be pouring the oils for the Chrism Mass. It's one of the most fun days of the year, the oil pouring, and then the Chrism Mass on top of it is super fun.
I'm going to miss that.
Sucker? Which one? No, just the
pouring,
because you have to be at the Chrism
No, I'll be at the Chrism Mass, but pouring, I have an appointment with Social Security.
Haha.
I've reached that
You're old.
age.
Same age as Godzilla.
I know.
No, but with the...
We're going to have a party together.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're debating whether it's going to be in New York or Tokyo.
Oh, Tokyo.
Yeah.
Spare New York. And anyway, the 1998 movie where he was in New York was
I
terrible.
hated that movie. I really did.
So bad.
All of a sudden, Godzilla becomes a girl and has eggs.
Well, there's this whole controversy about whether it was really a girl. They keep referring it to Godzilla as an it, and it was like sometimes reptiles could do asexual reproduction.
Oh.
So they were saying maybe it wasn't a girl. I don't know.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Never mind.
But then there was a movie in the 60s or 70s, The Son of Godzilla, and that, where did this baby, Minya, where did he come from?
Well, I thought he was, Godzilla was a single father.
Yeah, but where was the Godzilla lady? They never mentioned that. I don't know. But, and yes, his name is Minya. In the Hanna-Barbera cartoons, it's Godzuki, but that's not canon. Anyway, so we're pouring the oils, and then we're getting ready for the Chrism Mass, and the Chrism Mass is Monday of Holy Week at 7:30.
April 15th.
Yeah.
And please make plans to attend. It's truly
great.
A beautiful Mass. It really is.
It's awesome. And then last night was the benefit for the Bartone girls at the firehouse.
Well, no, it was at iPlay.
By the firehouse. They were the ones who
The fire company sponsored it, and we just want to give a shout out to the committee who worked very hard in making this a success. We heard that there were about 350 people there, and I was looking at some pictures on Facebook, and it looked like a lot of fun. I know for a fact a lot of hard work went into it, and so truly a worthy cause, and it was really very moving how the community continues to come out to support a family that has really been hit with tragedy. And so this is just our shout out to the fire company. God bless and job well done.
And then we'll be having a benefit for the Bartone family. It'll be a coffee house here in June, so look out for that.
Yes.
And finally, we wanted to just address an issue. People, with all of the local circumstances of priests being removed from parishes, there's a really good chance that somebody here may have had one of their sacraments celebrated by a priest who is no longer has faculties, and people wonder, how does that affect my sacrament? Like, am I still baptized? Am I still confirmed? Is my marriage valid? Stuff like that. So we wanted to address that. That's the Did You Know in this coming Sunday's bulletin. But for those who don't read the bulletin, we have this too. So Monsignor, do you want to talk about that?
Well, basically the church, and this goes all the way back to, I know in 866, Pope Nicholas the Second, I believe it was, or first.
Numbers elude me.
Issued a letter, because the question came up about the worthiness and state of grace of a minister administering a sacrament. And in that case it was baptism, but the church has always taught that the sacredness and the effectiveness of the sacrament does not depend on the moral integrity of the cleric who is celebrating the sacrament, and that because the sacrament is really God's work, and the sacrament is an encounter with Christ, so that the minister is just affecting the sacrament but has no impact on the sacredness, divinity, and worthiness of the sacrament.
And the validity.
And the validity.
Yeah.
So this has been something the church has taught for over 1,700 years, even longer. And I think it's important for families to remember that it's not who celebrates your sacrament, it is Christ who is in the sacrament that is important.
Yes. Okay. And so rather than end on a sad note with that, we want to introduce you to, what did I say her name was?
Betty.
Betty. Because she's got Betty Davis eyes.
Betty Davis eyes.
So this is
you can move her in so they can see the full impact of this gift that arrived.
From the Mistrettas. Thank you, guys.
It's winter and I know it. When the seasons start changing, this is what I see.
Oh.
And it's staring at me. I got a lot of it's too late, and I ain't afraid to show up, show up, show up. Winter and I know it.
It's amazing what entertains us here in the office.
Well, my girls only lay one a day.
We'll
But
see
they
you-
do colors.
But we will see you at
Yeah.
Mass.
Okay.